Rudi? So we go out in the backyard and we're looking around, and then we look north, and here we see these lights coming directly toward us.
If you're like me, you pay attention to the news. I enjoy being informed. And so if you're like me, cannot help but notice the prevalence and indeed the frequency of stories about UFOs. Government acknowledging people taking responsibility like important people. 2021, the Pentagon released a report on UAP. The term is preferred to UFO by much of the extraterrestrial community, which found more than 140 instances of UAP encounters that could not be explained. The report followed a leak of military footage which showed apparently inexplicable happenings in the sky, while Navy pilots testified they had frequently had encounters with strange craft off the U.S. coast. So, today we are joined by Clive Christopher.
Two things I've mentioned in previous chapters are UAPs like to pose as stars in the night sky, and I will always promise to show you fresh UAP content. This clip shows exactly that. This witness noticed something strange taking place in the sky in Mesa, Arizona during the evening hours on May 3rd, 2020. They are facing in the west to northwest direction when they noticed a bright object in the night sky. We will zoom in on this footage in just a bit, but I want you to see exactly how it was shot.
Like 9 of them at a time. It's been like 9. How many have we counted? George, look, it's getting brighter. The energy around it or something. Dude, they're fucking coming in. That's a portal, George. See around that star that got bright? That's not a star. Look how bright it's getting. I'm catching this, dude. Look at that shit.
Like little ships coming out that area.
Look at it, like there's energy coming out. Look, George, look. Look what my phone's catching, babe. Dude, that was fucking aliens as fuck.
Dude, look
and
at
it's
the
disappearing.
visual
It's
eye.
closing.
It's
You can't see it, but mine.
Yeah, mine doesn't show like his.
Look, and it's done. It went away. It went away. It went to the star that got bright. Watch that star do something.
That's not a star.
That's not a star. That's a ship. Look at that weirdness.
Look at his phone.
Look how.
Dude, it fucking went away.
That whole foggy shit went away. Like it's like a.
I can't.
Dude, I just caught something extraterrestrial on my fucking phone, but that's sick. We were just. Look at it. Look at when I zoom in on it. How it's all like absorbing that energy.
Yeah.
Remember I told you, what that fucking star got bright as fuck.
Dude, remember I told you I seen like a, remember Mom, that wasn't a satellite that we seen earlier.
We seen, and how many came out of there, dude?
Like fucking 12, dude.
Easily 12, like little things, like you can't see it on my phone, but
it disappeared at the same spot.
like
too.
they went from right there, and
Like
then they went this way, and then they hit that little, where's that other star? You can't see, oh, that star right there. They would go from that thing, and they would come to this and get disappear.
At the same time, the same.
And it was like every 5 seconds.
It's important to let you know that the person that filmed this does want to remain anonymous. Even though the topic is a little more popular in present day, some people are still uncomfortable getting in front of a camera and sharing their story.
Where I took that whole video at, I was in my little pool. What I thought was a star is completely gone. They were coming up from right there, coming out from that light that absorbed into to that star over there, and they were disappearing. Now that whole freaking light that was so bright is gone. That was this mothership B. Back at it again. It's 8:11, same spot. Did you see how it got bright?
It's gonna go again. There's another one. It's coming again.
It's gonna get bright. You can't see it on my camera, but it's gonna get bright. See it? Oh, there it goes.
There it goes.
There it goes.
Watch, it's gonna go another like.
How do I zoom? How do I zoom? Oh, here it goes.
It's going right now. Everything's going.
It's happening right now. I'm gonna keep it out.
Keep it in.
I'm gonna keep it like this, so you can see the little flashing.
It's gonna come through again.
Oh, my heart's beating so fast.
It's going again. It's going
Here
again.
it comes. Here it comes. You can't see the little dot, but it's gonna get bright right now. There it goes. There it is. There it is.
Boom.
Same spot.
It's gonna go. It's gonna go another few.
It's gonna go into a few, but the first video I was on this side, but it's happening again.
It's
My hand's
happening
shaking.
again, dude.
My
This is
hand's
last
shaking.
Sunday.
Last Sunday this happened. Oh, damn.
Another one's coming. Another
I
one's
see
coming.
it. Yeah, I see it. I see it. Look, watch. It's gonna get bright again. Oh, my hands are. I can't. I'm gonna try to zoom in. There it is. There it is. There it is.
Boom.
There it is. Let me
Happy
zoom.
single to UFO.
Let me zoom in a little bit. Oh, my hands are shaking. This is awesome.
It's happening again.
Wow. We were just talking about this.
We're the chosen ones.
We're the chosen ones, man.
Oh, there's gonna be a couple few coming.
There's gonna be wait, hopefully that big light comes back. Oh, man.
This is alien as fuck.
Yeah, definitely. Let me zoom back out. Do you
Oh,
see another one?
Oh, did they go away? I think they know now.
Oh, I can't see another
Fuck,
one.
they know now.
Oh, my hands are shaking now. Oh my god.
So a meteor shower, because meteor showers will go down.
we
Motherfuckers
got
vertically.
2 of them this time. I'm not gonna zoom in so close. It's in the same spot. Was it northwest?
That was 3.
Because he saw the 3.
Yeah, so that's
That was
3.
4. That
We
was
got
4.
3 of them. We got 3 of them this
There's gonna
time.
be some more. Watch.
Oh,
Post that share now. It's all good. They know now.
it's all good.
Yeah, like at first it was like we weren't even really like, cause we were just I just got this like little above ground pool thing, you know what I mean, right there for my daughter, and we have it right there in our driveway. So we were just hanging out. My brother came over. My mom had stayed the night with us. You know, we had went to Arizona like the day before. So when we got home, like just stay the night, Mom. You know, we're gonna take you home in the morning. And so she just ended up staying all day, and I go, you know, it's pretty warm out, maybe a little later when the sun goes down, you know what I mean, when the water's still warm, we'll jump in there. And so that's basically what we did, man, and my brother comes over, and we both jump in there, and we were just hanging out, and it was like, I was like making some food and stuff, so I was in and out, and finally I said, you know, I'm gonna jump in with you guys. And I jump in, and they just mentioned to me, like, in that area, like, oh, bro, we just seen a satellite up there. Like, oh, yeah, you can see those, you know, like, if you focus real close, you know, you can see those, you know, moving. He goes, yeah, it was, like, right there. And then we looked, and, like, that light was, like, it looked like just a normal star at first. And it started getting a little brighter. And I'm like, George, you see that? That's kind of getting a little brighter, that star on. And then my girl's like, oh, it's probably an airplane with this lights on. And I've seen airplanes like that, you know, when they're coming towards you with their lights on, they kind of look like they're staying there for a while. So I start messing with my brother. I go, dog, that's not an airplane, man. You know, just messing with him because he's really into, like, aliens and stuff. So that's why I kind of just, it started off as a joke. Then I realized I'm like, that airplane's not coming any closer. It's kind of just staying there. And once that happened, we started seeing, he goes, look right above it, like right where, in the video where you see like the little, like volcano looking, like it looked like a circle on top of it, like where they were just like dropping in, like little things coming. He goes, look, there's another one, another satellite. I'm like, that's not a satellite. And then like, right, because they were too close together, they just kept coming like one after another. And I was like, wait a minute, George, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And then the light started getting even brighter. So I was like, I don't think that's George, that's something different. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go grab my phone. And once I grabbed my phone, like by the time we started counting them all, they stopped. They would like come out, like go to the right for a good, like, I don't know how far, you know, and like from my vision, like maybe like 3 inches. And like they would get bright and then they would disappear. Another one would come out where like you could barely see it, like it was really dim, and then it would get bright and then disappear. And like I want to say like 10 to 12 of them came out of there, and that's when I got my phone, because I thought they were gonna, you know, keep showing up, keep doing this. So I was like, oh, I better grab my phone. And that's when I started recording that, man. And then like from the naked eye, at first you couldn't see that, what I caught on my camera. And then once I started like trying to focus in on it, and I seen what my camera was catching, I started looking like with my eyes, you know, and I could start seeing the same shape with my eyes. And my brother's like, I don't see what you're talking about. Like, he didn't really see what I seen. I'm like, there's that little thing, look at my camera. When he looked at it, he tripped out. That's when everything on the video was like, oh, dang. And then we started seeing it because now we could picture where it was at, you know, through my phone. And it just started getting brighter and brighter. And like, it was crazy, man. I was freaking, I remember everything. I mean, there's no reason why I was I was tripping. I just wish I wasn't, you know, cussing so much in the video, but you know, I mean, that's just that was my reaction, you know, at the time. I didn't really think about it. I didn't think, you know, 5,000 people were really gonna see it, you know?
Go ahead.
Because there was like stars above it, like a little bit above it, and then there was like little like twinkling ones. So I was like, maybe that is just a star. But like what we were seeing coming out were like gray, like a dull, like gray. And the only reason we could see them moving is because, like, you know, when your eyes kind of adjust to the dark, because I turned off all the lights so we could see them coming out. I turned my front light off because originally I had all the lights on in the front. But once we started, like, you know what I mean, with the light on the corner of our eye, was like, but we did see the stuff moving. I go, turn the lights on, because my uncle lives on the res, and that's how I learned to do that. Like, he's like, you want to see your satellite? Let's go on the back, turn the lights off, sit on the back of the truck so your eyes could adjust to the dark, you know? And so we would go out in this backyard and sit on the truck and on the back of the bed and lay there and be in the dark, and like you start seeing more stuff, more stars, and you could eventually start, look, there's one right there, and you can see the satellites way up there. They're not, you know, they don't have lights on them up. They probably do, but we can't see them. But all you can see is just a little thing moving very slowly, you know? So that's what kind of made me turn off all the lights. I'm like, turn the lights off so we can see it better, because like we were seeing these, like a bunch of them. Usually when you see a satellite, they're not in the same, you know, direction, and it's only one, and it goes and then it leaves, you know. This time we seen like one come drop down and then go to the right. Like 5 more seconds later, another one drop down, go to the right, drop down, go to the right. And I was like, that ain't satellites, George. That's what we seen earlier. I'm like, those are not satellites. Those are turn the lights on. And that's when we started like just looking with our eyes, and then that's when it snapped in my head. I'm like, I should record this. So by the time I got it, like, that was ready. Like on my phone, you couldn't see, like maybe 2 or 3 more came out. and that was it. And like, you know, my girl's right there. She's like, I don't see it. I'm like, look. And then I showed her on my phone, and then she kind of looks at it, and then she's like, well, my phone's not big. She was trying to do with her phone. She has a better phone, you know. Obviously, she has like a Galaxy, like the newest one or whatever. So that's not picking it up. I'm like, mine's picking it up like perfect. And then when she looked at mine, she started seeing it. Like, you know what I mean? She's seen it afterwards, like where it was at and everything. She's like, oh, my phone didn't pick that up. I'm like, mine did. And like, even after, like, I would look away from my phone, I could picture where it was at. So I started seeing it, like if they were like trying to cloak it or something. But like, since I knew where it was at, you know what I mean, to the average eye, like, they didn't really look, they're like, oh, they wouldn't see it. But since my phone saw it, I could start seeing it, and my brother's like, yeah, and I'm like, it's getting brighter, so, yeah, I started, like, picturing it out more. And I was like, oh, man, that was just something, I knew something, it was something that wasn't normal, so I was like, I gotta record this. Yeah, man, and then I was like, after all that happened, I was just kind of like, bugging out. I was like, that was so random, and I was shocked. Like, I didn't realize. You know what I mean, I didn't even think about posting the video at first, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I was gonna show my other brothers. So I was inside already, and we started eating. And then after we started eating and everything, my brother and my mom's just like, all right, we're gonna head out now. And my brother came to pick up my mom, and he goes out there. He goes, dude, Matt, it's gone. And I go, I grabbed my phone, and I'm like, that's where I took the second video. I'm like, I thought he was messing with me, but I knew that wasn't a star, you know? So when I got out there, sure enough, it was just completely gone, bro. And I'm getting a lot of people saying, like, from Chandler, that they seen a shooting star around that area, like, going south. And I'm like, well, I wish I would have stayed out there to see if it would have took off or whatever it did, but I was already inside, and by the time I found out it was gone completely, I was already, you know what I mean, it was already gone pretty much.
Let's dissect this video and try to put ourselves in a position as if we were there with them that night. The location best described by the witness was either over Camelback Mountain or Piestewa Peak. At the very beginning of this clip, the gentleman filming mentioned seeing 9 of them. What he is referring to is multiple crafts that they saw with the naked eye. It's hard to see, but the camera does capture some of those objects. They were traveling to other stars, says the witness, as he was trying to give his best description as to what he was observing. He even called it energy, as it began to absorb the clouds. He referred to it as a portal surrounding it, and the smaller craft were going in and out. There were at least 4 other people that witnessed this event. And if you pay close attention, the other people are filming. 3 out of the 4 people that were there that night filmed this event with their phones. When they're ready to come forward, the video footage from the other phones will be displayed to you. This state is often considered popular for UFO sightings due to a combination of factors, including its vast open landscapes, clear skies, deserts, and remote areas that provide less light pollution, making it easier to spot unusual aerial phenomena. Arizona gets plenty of attention from our solar system, and it's worth mentioning that the state has a rich history of UFO sightings. For example, from 2001 to 2015, an in-depth study on UFOs across the nation was overseen by Cheryl and Linda Costa. During this study, they collected raw data on the number of reported sightings in each state and quickly learned that these sightings were happening in specific counties within the state. Their final conclusion showed how each county was reporting UFOs and the different types that were encountered. Maricopa County alone beat out 37 states in reporting of unidentified objects and came in second overall during the study. There have been persistent rumors of an alleged crashed UFO buried in Arizona thousands of years ago, but there's no concrete evidence to support these claims. Word is, the crash took place near present-day Sedona. A mothership of some sort made impact and went deep in the earth. The urban legend goes that the craft releases energy that reaches the surface. Locals claim that this is why certain clay in the area is magnetic. The rumors of a buried UFO in Arizona also stem from the fact that the state is home to several military bases, testing grounds, and hidden ranches in the surrounding areas that came into existence in the early 40s before Area 51 became operational. The placements of these ox fields throughout the state have fueled theories and speculation that the military has been searching for this lost mothership before the UFO wave of 1947. It is important to approach such claims with skepticism and rely on credible evidence. Without concrete proof or official confirmation, the idea of a buried UFO in Arizona remains in the realm of urban legends. One of the most famous alleged UFO crashes in Arizona is known as the Selman Graves incident. When he and his brother-in-law came across a crashed UFO on the open desert floor. They were questioned by military officials for hours before they were allowed to go home. The exact location and circumstances of such crash remain speculative and controversial, even though the same story was later published in a book in 1952. It is worth noting that the vast majority of UFO crash reports that have been in Arizona can be attributed to hoaxes, misidentifications, or other explanations that have been shown in Project Blue Book. Additionally, Arizona has been the site of notable UFO incidents in the past, such as the famous Travis Walton UFO sighting and abduction that took place in November of 1975. Mr. Walton was abducted and taken aboard an alien spaceship and returned days later unharmed. Travis later told everyone what happened. He was ridiculed and called a liar, even after he passed multiple lie detector tests. Yet, there's no scientific evidence to support the claim that aliens or extraterrestrial life took Mr. Walton. But at what point do we begin to trust the word of an honest man over scientific proof? The existence of aliens is a topic that's up for debate. And in my opinion, Travis Walton is the one person that can prove their existence. Many claims of alien sightings or encounters are often based on personal beliefs, folklore, or theories, rather than scientific evidence. But with the amount of video from credible sources in the present day, they deserve serious consideration. Arizona's history of UFO sightings has generated an ongoing interest and research into the phenomena. The types of UFOs reported in Arizona vary, and witnesses have described different shapes, sizes, and behaviors. Here are some of the common types of UFOs reported in this state. There are numerous reports of strange lights or orbs in the sky that do not fit the typical shape of a traditional UFO. These lights are often described as hovering, maneuvering in unusual patterns, or disappearing and reappearing, displaying different colors. Many UFO sightings in Arizona involve spherical or orb-like objects. These orbs are often described as glowing, pulsating, or changing colors. They have been observed both individually and in groups. In recent years, there have been numerous reports of blue light unidentified aerial phenomena in Arizona. These sightings often describe objects emitting a bright blue light or blue-colored orbs moving through the sky in unusual patterns. These sightings have gained attention and sparked speculation amongst UFO enthusiasts and researchers. Some theories suggest that these blue light UAPs could be advanced military aircraft or experimental technology being tested in the area. Others propose they could be extraterrestrial. These sightings have gained attention and sparked speculation amongst UFO enthusiasts and researchers. It is important to note that the true nature of the origin of these blue light UAPs remains unknown. Without official confirmation or additional evidence, it is challenging to determine the cause behind these sightings. Investigations into the phenomena are ongoing, and researchers continue to explore possible explanations. The blue light UAPs reported in recent years add to the long-standing mystery and intrigue surrounding unidentified aerial phenomena in the state. Reports of delta-shaped UFOs in Arizona have been documented over the years. In this state, there have been reports of triangle-shaped UFO sightings that some speculate to be the TR-3B. These sightings often describe a craft with 3 lights at each corner, moving silently and smoothly through the night sky. The TR-3B is said to be a top-secret military craft, often associated with UFO sightings. It is described as a triangular-shaped craft with advanced capabilities, including the ability to hover silently and maneuver at high speeds. While there are many claims and conspiracy theories surrounding the TR-3B, its existence has not been officially confirmed by any government or military agencies. As with many UFO sightings, it is challenging to verify the nature of the observed object without official confirmation or additional evidence. The TR-3B remains a subject of speculation and debate, with some believing it to be a highly advanced military aircraft and others suggesting it could be of extraterrestrial origins. Triangle-shaped UFOs have been reported in other parts of the state as well. It is important to note that UFO sightings are relatively common worldwide, and Arizona has had its share of such reports. While many sightings need further investigation, we are going to take a look at the top 5 and most controversial UFO cases that have taken place in Arizona. Incident 40 originally started in Project Grudge and later Project Blue Book. On August 29th, 1947, an interview with a man named William Rhodes was arranged because he had taken some photos of a UFO in the Phoenix area a month prior. The photos were later published in a local newspaper, and Rhodes quickly gained attention. 2 agents showed up to the interview who were initially introduced as representatives of the government. During multiple interviews between Special Agent George Fugit Jr. from the CIC, Special Agent Brower of the FBI, and William Rhodes, the area of focus was the day he photographed the UFO in the sky, the actual pictures, the negatives, and even the camera that was used to take the pictures. The agents would eventually ask Rhodes for the original photos of the UFO and the negatives he developed himself. He quickly agreed to hand over the photos, and he also stated that the negatives were not at the property at this time, but he would hand them over the following day. Rhodes never received the camera, the photos, or negatives back. During Project Blue Book, Incident 40 was discredited by J. Allen Hyman, attacking Rhodes by falsifying the photos that were taken and questioning Rhodes' character by making claims that his wife may have been a Russian spy. It's important to note The photos involved in Incident 40 were shown to Kenneth Arnold, in which he said the craft was identical to the sighting he saw in Washington State. The photos taken by Rhodes went through a testing process because he developed the negatives himself. The independent testing showed the photos were authenticated and proven to be unaltered. The Marana Air Base sighting of April 1952. Before we go into the sighting that took place at the Marana Air Base, it's important to look at two other incidents from Project Blue Book that happened in the same area 3 years prior. A florist in the Tucson area is standing outside with two friends when they all noticed a silver elongated craft over the Catalina Mountains. The reports of this event show that it only lasted an estimated 15 minutes. All three witnesses observed a sausage-shaped craft directly above the Catalina mountain range. It had no windows, points of exit, wings, or identifying marks. All three witnesses said that it appeared to be rolling over while it stayed stationary above the mountains. They also reported that it was about 3 to 5 miles off the ground and slowly moving at a speed of about 500 miles per hour. This documented report comes from a U.S. Air Force sergeant who noticed two unidentified flying objects while enjoying some downtime in the front yard of his home located in northeast Tucson. The sergeant stated that he observed two silver, perfectly round craft that appeared over the southwestern part of the sky. There were some times where he said the objects looked flat, reflective, and they were about the size of a standard bathtub. They were at an altitude of about 10,000 feet and traveled at an estimated 800 to 1,000 miles per hour. The Air Force sergeant observed the two craft as they headed towards the northwest side of the city. Then they made a sudden right turn before disappearing over the Catalina Mountains. Air Force instructors and a civilian pilot reported seeing a metal, bright object that remained stationary over the Marana Air Base. The civilian pilot had recently landed at the base and stated that while on taxi, he noticed an object that was bright as a star during the morning hours. The pilots remained in observation mode as the object just hovered over the base for about 45 minutes. They said that the object never moved an inch while they were watching it. The pilots then decided to take off and get a better look at the object. But as soon as they became airborne, the craft quickly disappeared. The incident quickly gained attention, both locally and from the national media. At that time, it was considered one of the earliest and well-documented UFO sightings in Arizona that was later investigated by the Air Force and Project Blue Book.
To mention that, you know, what you initially, the story you initially told about the Phoenix Lights. I lived in Phoenix at the time, and I didn't see them. I wasn't outside, but it was indeed a citywide occurrence. Everyone was talking about it. This was years ago. I was in school still, so everyone was talking about it, and some people saw it, some people didn't. But it was too many people for it to be like
over 10,000 people saw it.
Way more. It has to be more, way more than that.
Yeah.
It has to be way.
It was a huge,
because there was a moment here.
This incident has lost translation over the years. Reported as one event that lasted only a few hours. The truth is, sightings occurred up until 5 a.m. the following morning. The Phoenix Lights remains unexplained, and opinions differ on what exactly was observed and took place that evening. Some propose that it was a secret military aircraft or experimental technology, while others suggest it could have been extraterrestrial. The official explanation from the U.S. military was that the lights were flares dropped by an A-10 Warhawk aircraft during a training exercise. However, many witnesses maintained that the object that they saw was much more substantial than flares, and here's why. On March 13, 1997, thousands of people in Phoenix, Arizona reported seeing a V-shaped formation of lights moving silently across the city. The lights appeared to be connected to a massive triangular-shaped object, and these lights flew across 2 states. This is the main event that a majority of witnesses observed, including myself. This took place from about 7:50 to 8:45. From what I understand, no video from this event exists in the present day. It's all been confiscated. This is a part of the story they don't want us to remember. When it comes to the Phoenix Lights, imagine a book. The entire incident is recorded in this book, and it's 20 chapters. And this complete book focuses on the entire event known as the Phoenix Lights. What is shown on the news is about a chapter. Some of the things that took place left people in fear. One thing about this incident, it is the most reported sighting in ufology. And even if you lived in Phoenix and you did not physically see the Phoenix Lights, you learned in the days, weeks, even months after that the Men in Black is a real thing. They went around, confiscated videos, they tapped people's phones, the FBI was involved. There was a lot of events that even took place after that left the city in fear. And this is why a lot of the witnesses decided to wait and speak out, because of the fact that there was, it was known that government agents, FBI, Men in Black, all different types of agencies were boots on the ground after the Phoenix Lights. Now, one of the main reasons why people want me to speak out about what I witnessed that night on March 13th, 1997, is because my story can be verified based off of the fact that it is connected to 2 city entities. I was 15 years old working at Sky Harbor Airport, and I would catch the city bus to and from work. When I saw the Phoenix Lights, I was traveling on the Red Line bus right around 16th Street and Buckeye. I initially saw 2 lights that looked like helicopters, but I immediately knew there was something wrong about that because the flight path is right there. And one of the things that you indirectly learn working at the airport is the flight path, the way the planes land, pretty much the time in between planes. And the airport, it's all schedule based. So these lights that I saw, 2 of them, as we were turning on 16th Street. It was odd because it was right in the flight path of the arriving flights. I remember thinking, it's possibly some sort of emergency or something like that. And as we made that right, that's when I noticed there was more than 2. It was actually 5. And the color of these lights, they were whitish, bluish, grayish color. And they were in a V formation about 300 feet off of the ground, traveling south. And they were just starting to cross over the airport. That entire time, I'm looking at these lights, just pretty much in awe. And we stopped, we got off of the bus, and we all collectively looked at something fly south that was incredibly large. And 2 things that I remember is there was no planes landing at all. That let me know the airport knew there was something in the flight path, and those planes were either diverted or on standby, but there was no planes landing. Another thing is when I looked, so we were all in this gaze, and the reason why I know that is because something happened that caused me to look away. And when that happened, I noticed that everybody was in this awe. They were just mesmerized by what they were seeing. And I looked around, and that is when I heard the sounds of dogs barking. Now, the very interesting thing, and this is one thing I vividly remember, is I could hear the dogs. They were extremely loud, and I could not see them. Even though there were other cars, I couldn't tell you if the bus was actually running, but I do remember only hearing the sounds of the dogs and nothing else. And we stood there and we watched it for in between 4 to maybe 7 minutes, no longer than 10 minutes. It just glided out of view in a southeast direction towards the I-10 Chandler Tucson area. And then once it left our view, we all got back on the bus and we went on our way. Now, when I got off on Thomas, I had missed my connecting bus going to 14th Street, so I decided to walk. And as I'm walking, I got to about 7th Street and I looked south, and this is when I saw another set of lights that were a different color, and it was a string of them that looked like they were going into the Berry Goldwater range. These lights were not in the same placement as the first set, and they were not the same color. So as I see them, I remember, but I also had forgotten that fast that there was something that we saw maybe an hour prior. So I see the lights again, but they're different in characteristics, the number of them, even in placement. So as I'm walking home, I get to 14th Street, I get to my house, I call my grandmother, and she's already in her room. Tell her to come outside, take a look at what I'm seeing and what's going on. And as I'm, telling her this in excitement, I'm explaining to her everything that I saw, and she then comes outside, and we both observe that later event. The Phoenix Lights took place really the entire year, but the main event took place March 13th and March 14th. And once again, the news does not get this correct. The news tells it as one event, and they show the lights that's famously known as Tom King's footage. That footage specifically is from the 10 o'clock event, 9:45, 10 o'clock event. Most of us that saw the boomerang that started up in Henderson, Nevada, then traveled to Paulden and Prescott and Phoenix and all these different locations, that was in between 7:55 and about 8:45. And those were two separate events. But the Phoenix Lights in reality lasted well into the next morning. And one of the crucial pieces of information that a lot of people have forgotten is the three people, the two military pilots and the personnel who gave the information to the mid-level reporter. They all kind of disappeared from existence.
And we live in the desert. So at nighttime, we have wide open, and other places do, but there's not a lot of trees here. I mean, there's pretty clear, unobstructed access to the night sky. And if you live a little bit outside of town, those stars really have presence, right? Mm-hmm. And so movement outside of your car window is very easy to spot because there's an unobstructed view to what would be the horizon, and so forth. I'm not a person that follows UFOs or any of that sort of stuff. You know this famously.
In May of 1953, another notable UFO incident occurred near Kingman, Arizona. Multiple witnesses reported seeing a silver disc-shaped object crashed in the desert. The military reportedly arrived quickly and cordoned off the area, leading to speculation of a cover-up. While some believe it was an extraterrestrial craft, others suggest it may have been a secret military experiment. Upon further investigation, it was later revealed that there were in fact 3 disc-shaped objects that crashed in the Kingman area, and there's direct evidence that shows this incident could have been caused by the testing site in a neighboring state. UFO researcher Preston Dennett says Arizona has at least a half a dozen UFO crash retrieval type events, and the Kingman crash is by far one of the most famous and best verified.
One of the most significant UFO events in Arizona history is by far the Kingman UFO crash, also known as the Paradise Valley UFO crash. What makes this case different from others is that it has an enormous amount of verification to it. There's a lot of different sources, a lot of different witnesses, and this makes it not only one of the most significant cases in Arizona involving UFO crashes, but really one of the best verified UFO crash cases on record.
Before we get into the actual reports of the multiple downed craft, you should know that the Atomic Energy Commission approved a series of explosions during the spring of 1953 at a Nevada test site under the code name Operation Upshot Knothole. The operation consisted of 11 different tests of bombs that were deployed by airdrop and an artillery cannon known as Atomic Annie. Parts of the evidence pertaining to the Kingman crash site comes from an engineer who worked at the test site in Nevada. The engineer was taken from the test site to the nearby Indian Springs base that afternoon and was told that he would be working on the crash of a military vehicle under Project Blue Book. The man, with about 15 other people, boarded a military plane and were flown to Phoenix, Arizona. When they arrived to Phoenix, they were placed on a bus and an additional 10 people joined them, bringing the total number of individuals to 26. The bus was completely blacked out and they were not told where they were heading. This trip took about 4 hours before they arrived to their final destination. As they got off the bus, they were immediately escorted by military police to the location of the downed vehicle.
Now this occurred on May 21st, 1953, and the first mention, as far as I can tell, comes from researcher Frank Scully, who talked about it briefly in his book Behind the Flying Saucers, which was all about UFO crash retrievals. The book was largely debunked by researchers until the subject of UFO crash retrievals started to move to the forefront of UFO research, at which point researchers did take a second look at it. However, according to Scully, he did talk to first-hand sources of this UFO crash, and they told him that they were in Phoenix when this crash occurred and were on the scene shortly later. And on the scene, they found a small craft that they said was 36 feet in diameter, and there were 2 deceased ETs. And according to Frank Scully, and I quote, "One of the little men was half out of the escape door or hatch, as the doctor called it. The little man was dead. The other little fellow, there being only a crew of 2 on this ship, was sitting in his seat at the control board. He was also dead." So this is the first report of the Kingman UFO crash, but it's certainly not the last. Some of these details do contradict later reports, so perhaps they didn't have all the information.
Witnesses surrounding the area reported seeing up to 8 different saucer objects in the air that appeared to be in attack mode, but their aggressors weren't visible. Out of the 8 craft that were seen, 3 of them were taken down and crashed in an area just 8 miles northeast of the Kingman airport. It's believed that out of the 3 crashed vehicles, 1 of them was completely destroyed during impact with the mountain. The second craft was found complete and later observed by the engineer. And the third disc made contact with the top of a nearby butte and landed miles north. Due to the Oxfield and Kingman and surrounding areas, the military was quickly scrambled to secure the sites until the retrieval teams arrived. It has been discovered that military issued canisters from 1953 were in the area where the crash is believed to have taken place.
And the next information to come on this case comes from well-respected UFO researcher from MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. His name is Richard Hall. He's been in this field forever, has written a number of books on this subject. And in 1964, Richard Hall says that he spoke to a gentleman who would soon be a commander in Vietnam, so a good witness. And this man told Richard Hall that in 1953, a UFO did in fact crash in Arizona. This is presumably the Kingman crash. And according to his source, his information, there were actually 4 bodies recovered, and the craft was described as being 30 feet in diameter and largely undamaged. And as Richard Hall says, "I could not imagine a less likely hoaxer." However, the real big break in the case comes from researcher Raymond Fowler, perhaps best known for his books on the Betty Andreasson contactee case, but a very well-respected researcher who talks to apparently a first-hand witness who at first refused to give his name. The story was told under the pseudonym Fritz Werner. We now know his real name to be Arthur Stansel, and he testified under an affidavit that he was there on the scene of this Kingman UFO crash. Now, Arthur Stansel was an engineer manager at the Air Material Command at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, which, if you know this field, is UFO Central. This is where a lot of the material from UFO crashes go. So he's in a good position to know the truth about the UFO crash. He says that while he was employed there, he worked closely with a Dr. Eric Henry Wang, who was the head of the Department of Special Studies. At the time of this crash, Arthur Stansel was actually at Frenchman's Flats in Nevada studying the atomic bomb sites and the blast effects. And this was when he received a call that a UFO had just crashed not too far away, and that Dr. Henry Wang had been placed in charge of its recovery. So it was Wang who ordered Arthur Stansel to go to the site with a group of about 40 other scientists to assist in the recovery of the Kingman UFO. Now, it was Arthur Stansel's job to calculate the velocity and the trajectory of the disk based on the structure of the UFO and how deeply it had burrowed into the ground and the entire blast pattern. So according to Arthur, he was taken on a bus out to the site. The bus had blacked out windows. He was told to concentrate only on his assigned duties and not look around. So he obeyed and exited the bus and was taken to what he says was a 30-foot wide oval object that he said was constructed of a, quote, an unfamiliar metal which resembled brushed aluminum. And like Richard Hall's source, Arthur Stansel said that this disc was undamaged and it actually only penetrated about 20 inches into the sand. Now he did see a hatch. It was about 3.5 feet high. He didn't see any apparent landing gear. But after measuring the measurements of this crash site, he concluded that this craft had struck the ground at about 1,200 miles an hour. He also concluded it was not man-made. As he says in his own words, the object was not built by anything, obviously, that we know about on Earth. It was more like a teardrop-shaped cigar, like a streamlined cigar. So, of course, he was not the only person there. He said the craft was being guarded by military police and was inside a tent nearby that he saw. And as he says, I managed to glance inside this tent, he says, at one point and saw the dead body of a 4-foot human-like creature in a silver metallic suit. The skin on its face was dark brown. Apparently it had been burned. So according to Stansel, he and each of the scientists was ordered one by one and escorted to the site to perform their specialty, and then was returned to the bus, and afterwards he was made to sign an official Secrets Act and given an oath never to reveal what he had seen. Now he did speak with another scientist who said that he looked inside the object and saw 2 small swivel seats and a strange-looking instrument panel. Arthur Stansel did sign an affidavit testifying to the truth of his testimony. Researcher Leonard Stringfield is best known for his research into UFO crash retrievals, and he was giving a lecture on the Kingman UFO crash when he said afterwards a National Guard employee approached him and told him that back in 1953 he was also stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, and he was there when a group of crates arrived from, he says, a UFO crash site in Arizona. And these crates, he said, contained 3 humanoid bodies. They were packed in dry ice, and each was about 4 feet tall. And there were 3 male bodies and apparently 1 female, he said. Well, some of the crates also contained debris. And according to this officer, some of this debris did have strange sort of Sanskrit-like symbols on them. So the witness did refuse to make a written statement. He did ask his superiors if he could make a written statement that would be opened upon his death, but his superiors emphatically denied this request. So more and more information has come out over the years. More recently, a lady by the name of Judy Wolcott said that her husband told her that he was also at the crash site and in fact was one of the first people there. At the time, he was on duty at the air control tower in Kingman, and that he and other personnel were actually tracking this object and watched on the scopes as this object lost altitude and then disappeared from their scopes. Shortly later, they did actually physically see a huge flash of light in the distance. This was some distance outside of the city of Kingman. So Mr. Wolcott and a group of other men piled into their jeeps and drove to where they believed this object had crashed, and they searched the area for some time before they finally came upon this object that they said was partially embedded into the sand. Now he didn't see any bodies, he said, but he says he didn't see any damage to the craft either, and he was about to examine it more closely, and this is when military officials arrived and ordered them off the site. Now, according to Judy Wolcott, her husband was taken back to the base and told that absolutely nothing happened, they did not see anything, and they were not to speak of it. However, according to her husband, it was the buzz of the base. Mr. Wolcott, Judy's husband, wrote all of this in a letter to his wife, and 1 week later, he was killed in action. So that's a sad ending to that witness, unfortunately. But other researchers have found further verification of this. One researcher, of course, is Linda Moulton Howe, who says that she received confirmation of the Kingman crash in a roundabout way. She says that on April 9, 1983, she met with Richard Doty, who's pretty well known in this field. This was at the AFOSI at Kirtland Air Force Base. And while there, she says she was shown a document that was titled in all capital letters, and I'll just quote it, "Briefing paper for the President of the United States of America about the subject of unidentified aerial craft, UACs." So Linda says she was beginning to read this document and saw that it listed several UFO crash retrieval incidents, including the Aztec crash in New Mexico and the Kingman crash in Arizona and several others. So more and more information keeps coming forward. More recently, more information comes from whistleblower Bill Uhouse, who says that this disc was in effect actually given to the US military by the ETs. This is quite a controversial statement, but this is what Bill Uhouse says. He says, and I quote, "This ET craft was a controlled craft that the aliens wanted to present to our government. It landed about 15 miles from what used to be an Army Air Base, which is now a defunct Army base." And according to him, the first soldiers to enter the craft reportedly became very much nauseous and disoriented, and when they exited the craft, they had no memory of actually being inside. So perhaps this is an explanation for some of the missing time incidents. It's just the environment of the craft itself that can cause a person to have amnesia problems. But according to Bill Uhouse, this disc, he says, was transported first to Area 51. And as he says, it made loud humming noises the whole time. The military didn't know what to do. They weren't sure if it was going to explode or what, so they left it sitting out in the open on the tarmac for 9 months. So I don't know, that's interesting testimony, and there's more coming. Most recently, researcher Len Kasten has uncovered a source that he says the Paradise Valley craft, the Kingman crash, actually contained live aliens who survived the crash and ended up working with the United States military. And according to Len Kasten, his source told him that this Kingman UFO became the model that was used to reverse engineer other UFOs. That the ETs actually assisted in helping military scientists to understand and use the craft. So there is all kinds of interesting testimony about this case. More testimony comes from Robert Carr. He's another very early whistleblower. He was apparently brought in to study ETs because he's an expert in non-verbal communication and was apparently one of the scientists, quote, in the know on this subject when it came to crashed saucers. And he went on record talking about them long before Bob Lazar and the many other researchers we see today. Now, normally very tight-lipped on this subject, he rarely granted interviews. He did give an interview to researcher Gray Barker, during which he revealed some facts about the Paradise Valley, the Kingman UFO crash. And I will just quote Robert Carr directly, as he says, "The other wreck was found that summer in the desert in Arizona by visual observation. This one was burned, and it had been out there in the desert for too long. There were organic materials left, but the predators and the heat of the desert had pretty well taken care of the occupants. But they scooped it up and took it along." So that is the Kingman Paradise Valley UFO crash, some of the information. Of course, there's more information being uncovered all the time. Some of these testimonies do contradict each other, but some are remarkably similar in details: the size of the craft, what it looked like, where it came down, the fact that there were bodies in it, and the fact that there are so many people talking about it, I think lends credence to the fact that this was a real event.
An event involving the military surely took place in the Kingman area in May of 1953. However, it is possible that the nuclear test in a neighboring state caused these 8 unknown craft to take defensive positions that were later reported by the witnesses.
But even I have seen some wild stuff. Well, one particular instance, driving back from Vegas, it's all through the desert, back to Phoenix. And I was with a friend of mine, and, we both saw it together. Like, what is that? One of those light things just kind of moving in a manner that is inconsistent with a helicopter or an airplane or anything. It just kind of was just zigzagging and staying in one place and then zigzagging again, just moving way too quick to be anything that I could explain. And so I want to make sure that for the sake of our listeners, I establish that, we live in a sort of strange place where these things are a little bit more observable, I'll say.
Yes.
And it has to be the case because, and then obviously I want to acknowledge that, I grew up in the same world as you, where I watched Independence Day, and I remember the old crazy guy that was like, I got abducted by aliens, and on and on. So I do want to shift gears a bit. I want you to talk about
the Travis Walton abduction case is one of the most well-known and controversial alien abduction incidents in history. On November 5th, 1975, Travis Walton and a group of fellow loggers were working in the Sitgreaves National Forest near Snowflake, Arizona. Although the focus is primarily on the alleged abduction itself, the initial sighting of the UFO by Travis Walton and his co-workers is a crucial part of the story. The bright light and the subsequent disappearance of Walton have been the subject of much debate and speculation. According to the witnesses, they saw a bright light coming from the forest and went to investigate. As Walton approached, he was struck by a beam of light, causing him to disappear. His terrified co-workers initially fled the scene, but eventually returned to search for him. But Walton was nowhere to be found. After 5 days of intense search efforts led by law enforcement, Walton reappeared in Heber, Arizona, claiming to have been abducted by a UFO and taken on board an extraterrestrial craft. He described being a subject of various medical examinations and interactions with non-human entities before being returned. The incident gained widespread media attention and was later adapted into the movie Fire in the Sky in 1993. This case has been both praised and criticized, with some believing Walton's account and others dismissing it as a hoax or a misinterpretation of events. Despite the controversy, Walton has consistently maintained his story over the years and has passed multiple polygraph tests. His co-workers also took lie detector tests, which indicated that they believed something out of the ordinary had occurred. However, skeptics argue that polygraph tests are not foolproof and do not provide definitive proof of the abduction. The Travis Walton case remains one of the most famous and debated abduction cases, with no conclusive evidence either supporting or disproving his claims. It continues to fascinate and intrigue both believers and skeptics of extraterrestrial encounters. One thing is for certain, Travis Walton has always maintained that he was abducted, and witness testimony from those who were there that night supports everything that he stated. At what point do we begin to take the word of honest people over scientific evidence? It's important to note that the credibility and evidence surrounding these sightings vary, and many remain unexplained. They continue to captivate the imagination and fuel speculation of the existence of extraterrestrial life beyond this planet.
I'll read. The headline reads, U.S. urged to reveal UFO evidence after claim that it has intact alien vehicles. Whistleblower, former intelligence official says government possesses intact and partially intact craft of non-human origin.
One of the most significant UFO events in Arizona history is by far the Kingman UFO crash.
Thank you for having me. I'm just one of thousands of people that witnessed the Phoenix Lights that night.
Look at it, like there's energy coming out. Look, George, look. Look what my phone's catching, babe. Dude, that was fucking aliens as fuck.
Dude, look
And
at
it's
the
disappearing,
visual
it's
eye.
closing.
It's closed. It's
You can't
closed.
see it, but with mine,
Mine, you can't. Mine doesn't show like his.
look, and it's done. It went away. It went away. It went to the star that got bright. Watch that star do something.
That's not a star.
That's not a
bro.
star, that's a ship. Look at that weirdness.
Look at his phone.
Look how
Dude, it fucking went away.
that whole foggy shit went away. Like it's like a.
Weird, like cloud. I can't.
Dude, I just caught something extraterrestrial on my fucking phone, but that's sick. We were just, look at it. Look at when I zoom in on it. How it's all like absorbing that energy. Remember I told you, what that fucking star got bright as fuck.
Dude, remember I told you I seen like a. Remember, Mom? That wasn't a satellite that you seen earlier.
We seen, and how many came out of there, dude?
Like
Like
fucking 12. Dude.
easily 12, like little things. Like you can't see it on my phone, but
And
like,
it disappeared at the same spot.
like
too.
they went from right there, and
Like
then they went
to a
this
south
way,
mode or some
and then they hit that little. Where's that other star? You can't see. Oh, that star. That star right there. They would go from that thing, and they would come to this and get disappear.
At the same time, the same.
And it was like
same
every
everyone.
5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, one would come.